One of the highlights right here off the record.
What's up? You're watching HIVEMIND, the most tumultuous show on the internet. My name is Riley, as always, with my superfluous co-host, Graydon.
Hello!
Drake's 7th studio album, Honestly Nevermind, is out now, and we're gonna talk about it. If you didn't see the videos we made about the Jack Harlow and the Kendrick albums, this is how we do it. We have 5 categories. We go through lyrics, features, beats, samples, and songs.
Yes.
Our best and worst of each of those categories.
Honestly, never mind. Sorry.
Before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, HIVEMINDTV.com for our merch. Consider joining our Patreon. It's only $5 a month. It's linked in the description. You get to help DJ Grant make games. You also get extra content. And we have a Cameo link in our description if you want a special message just from us. Also, if you live in Los Angeles, we have a live show this Friday, June 24th, with Rich Amiri, Dev Stacks, DC the Don, Krayshawn, Marvy A, and Grandma, with a pop-up for our new merch line with Copes. So if you're on the West Coast, pop out. We got a ticket link in our description.
Come on out.
Drizzy Drake.
Let's dissect this beautiful piece of work.
All right, before we get to the lyrics section of this, I want to talk about the lead up to the album.
Yeah.
Because it was a surprise drop. It's the first surprise drop we've got since, if you're reading this, it's too late.
Yeah.
And it comes almost exactly 9 months after CLB. So the certified lover boys on the cover were pregnant with this album, apparently.
Who would have thought?
But the cover for this album, like, I knew there were rumors swirling about a Drake dance album, but when I saw the cover, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, we're going hard.
Especially because he kind of like started to go back at Pusha T on the Jack Harlow album. I was like, okay, he's gonna start some chaos. He's gonna come with the bars, he's gonna go crazy. I even heard rumors of the 21 Savage feature, so I was like, okay, this is gonna be a rap album.
It's not.
It's not a rap album at all.
Little did we know, no trash being talked really. Just the return of the Simp King.
But I wanted to read you the statement that he released before dropping this album.
All right, let's hear it.
I didn't see a lot of talk about this, so I don't know how many people know that this statement was released.
I read like a lot of reviews that included his comments on people's initial reactions.
Right.
And him being like, y'all don't get it. That's all right. We're already 2 steps ahead. Like we're waiting for y'all to catch up. Like classic Drake stuff, but I have not read this.
Okay, let me read this for you guys. I let my humbleness turn to numbness, which, by the way, I read the first time as I let my humbleness turn to numbleness. I let my humbleness turn to numbness, at times letting time go by, knowing I got the endurance to catch it another time. Pretty sure this whole thing rhymes, by the way.
Yeah, beautiful.
I work with every breath in my body because it's the work, not air, that makes me feel alive. That's some real detrimental shit, but that's that shit my perfectionist mind doesn't really mind, because no one knows what's on my mind when I go to sleep at 9 and wake up at 5. Unless I say it in rhyme. I can't remember the last time someone put their phone down, looked at me in the eyes, and asked my current insight on the times. But I remember every single time someone shined a light in my eyes. I purposely try to forget what went on between some people, and because I know I'm not a forgiving guy even when I try, my urge for revenge wins the game against my good guy inside every single fucking time. I got plans I can't talk about with more than like 4 guys, because the last time I shared them with someone on the outside, ... well, that's another story for another night. I was trying to get through that statement to get to saying I'm not at a time in my life where pats on the shoulder help me get by. I'll take loyalty over an oh my and emoji fire. I know if it was a dark night where all the odds were against my side and my skill went to whoever took my life, they'd done me off with a big smile and maybe even post it for some likes. I know everyone that tells me they love me doesn't love me all the time, especially when I'm doing better than all right, and they have to watch it from whatever point they at in their life. I got here being realistic. I didn't get here being blind. I know what's what, and especially what and who is by my side. Honestly, never mind. Dedicated to our brother V, Drake.
Wow. You should have saved some of those bars for the album.
Yeah, he didn't rap at all, but he rapped the whole statement.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I read this as like, shit happened between me and Pusha T, and I got a lot of fake people around me, but honestly, never mind, let's dance.
Yeah. I read it as if he like read it off like a scribe.
Yeah. He's still dressed like the future Wait For You video.
He hasn't changed yet.
I mean, it is dedicated to Virgil, and Virgil did used to DJ a lot of house stuff.
Big
so
house
like,
head.
Yeah, that's nice, and I understand where he's coming from. And also, this album sounds so different on first listen than it does on 4th, 5th, even 10th listen now.
I agree. I think it is a beautiful sentiment for him to incorporate the sounds that Virgil was like trying to push so much.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Virgil would have loved this album.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's get into the lyrics.
Yeah, come on. We got a lot to talk about.
We're going song by song.
Yes.
Okay, so first we don't have anything from Falling Back.
No need.
No need to talk about that song.
We'll get to that song a little later.
Yeah. This one's from Texco Green. We got, if I was in your shoes, I would hate myself.
I love this one.
If Kanye and him hadn't made peace, I would think this was a Yeezy diss.
Yeah, true.
You know, if I was in your shoes, I would hate myself.
Because they ugly.
All right, next we got from Currents, I don't want to come on too strong, but I'm moving to your room now.
Another like classic vibe of Drake's is like, hey, I don't want to pressure you, but
Yeah, creepy Drake lines are just canon at this point.
yeah, he's like opening her bedroom door and is like, hey, I don't want to, can I crash? Like, I don't.
It's so weird because I can just imagine Drake actually singing to a girl one-on-one, being like, I don't want to move too fast, move into your room. It's like, you know.
I mean, this one has a bunch of cringe lyrics and especially out of context for this album because I understand trying to put on like a different voice, more of like a singing voice for these house beats and like the Afro beat and the dance hall stuff. But when they're pulled out of context, it can really, really be strange.
Yeah, because I wanted to say like, what was he supposed to do? Rap on these? It's not going to be good. But then the best songs are when he does that. So it's like maybe he should have rapped on these songs.
And people have rapped on house beats, you know, for a long time. It is possible. It's not completely out of the blue.
From a keeper, got you Mercedes-Benz, but that don't make you driven.
This is one of those ones, though, where I feel like I hear it first time and I'm like, Jesus, that is dumb.
Yeah.
And then the more I hear it, I'm going to be like, I'll be singing this line in my head.
Yeah, totally. Drake is also good at bad good bars.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
how Kanye is. Like Kanye will say something really cringy, but then you grow to like love it a little bit, even though it's very stupid. And like, you know, he is saying something. He's like, you can buy someone a gift, but that's not going to give them ambition. It's not going to make them go out and get their own money when you give them stuff, you know? So there is a sentiment here. It's just so stupid.
It just sounds dumb. One of the highlights right here off the record.
Your pussy is calling my name.
For how cringe this lyric is, and I wish he never said it, we were talking about, while we were listening to it before doing this, that it might be one of the best moments on the album.
Oh, yeah. The second half of Calling My Name is so good.
He sidechains the vocals, and it like wobbles with the bass. That is like true submerged, suppressed, deep house rhythm. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like,
Because there's a lot of moments of cheap house, and we'll get into that in the production on this album.
Yeah.
But like, this one isn't that. This one like turns nasty second half.
And while he plays with like, it's minimalist throughout the whole thing and house, I think he's just trying to do his best. You know what I mean? He's not a house guy, and so they took like the core of certain things and put them in the album.
I'm also not convinced this is Drake singing this. It sounds like somebody else, but it's not listed, so I don't know.
I think it's just a vocal effect or something.
All right. We have a lot for Sticky.
Yeah.
So this one is A, 2 sprinters to Quebec. Cherry ou est mon bec.
Nice.
Cherry ou est mon bec.
One more time. More French, though, this time.
Cherry ou est mon bec.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't feel good about that.
And you know what that means, and you shouldn't feel good about it.
You told me already, but you've got to tell people, because this is crazy.
What Drake says in French here is, "Where's my kiss, honey?" Where is it?
Real where my hug at energy.
Like, girls show up and he's like, speaking in French. Oh, I mean, I'm sure he didn't just say this. This is probably something they say.
It's
in
an
Quebec.
expression. Yeah.
But again, taken out of the context and just read, it is like, oh no.
This is my favorite lyric on the album. It is, if I'm with 2 of them, then it's a threesome. If she alone, you know she a freak one. If it's an escort, it's a police one.
And then the sirens hit.
Yeah.
I love this bar.
Oh, it is hard.
This is my vote to go number 1.
You think Sticky's going number 1?
I think this is the hit off the album.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I could see that. I think Massive's gonna get a lot of radio play. We'll get into like our favorite songs later, you know? But
just on re-listen last night, it hit me and I was like, this is gonna go crazy. There's so many memorable lines. It like, the pace moves really well. It's just different enough.
I thought I had to throw this one in.
Yeah.
King of the Hill, you know it's a steep one.
Damn it, Bobby.
Now she wished she would have stayed, because every song that I made is ringing like I got engaged. I hate this bar.
This just seems forced. Like, it's so bad. He's like, what could I put here? Rings, ringing, engage. Got it.
It's just Drake filler bar shit, but it's just ridiculous. Like, ringing like I got engaged.
Seems lazy.
This is your least favorite, right?
This is my least favorite.
Okay.
And it took me a long time just reading it, and I was like, why would he ever do this? But it is, you say I changed, I say that I millions. I did.
Am I missing something?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
is
it just change in millions? Like,
it has to be, because Lord knows what else it could be.
Somebody's out there is going to be like, it's a reference to this and you guys are idiots or something. But like, to me, when I just see it as literally a play on change versus millions, I'm like, this is one of the worst bars I've heard in a Drake song ever.
Bro, you changed. Nah. I'm millions. I millions.
All right, from Massive. I know my funeral gonna be lit because how I treated people.
Yeah, an odd proclamation to make, which he's done before.
Yeah.
Like standing up at the front row, like Air Canada Center when I die.
Yeah.
You know, he's made proclamations about his funeral before, but this one feels strange.
Yeah, and just the melody for some reason makes it ring even weirder.
Yeah.
Like this was almost my worst lyric, but it's not really like the lyric itself, it's just the delivery and like what he's saying with it. It's like, ugh.
He does that several times in the album where you can tell he's just maybe not entirely comfortable delivering Drake lines in this setting.
The thing about Drake too is the standout bars are the really good ones and the really bad ones, and they stick the same.
Yeah.
So like people like this stood out to me the first time I heard Massive, and I know that people are like, if you're at a party and Massive's playing, people are going to like to their friends face to face be like, I know my funeral gonna be lit cause how I treated people. Like they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I get why, but it's just still not good to me.
I only love my bed and my mama, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's trash, but it's iconic.
Yeah. All right, Overdrive. There's deeper places we can go. Don't have to just party with me.
Again, back on the classic Drake stuff is like, hey baby, I got a soul and I'll bear it to you. We don't even have to finish all this champagne I ordered. I'll waste it. Like, let's just go back to my place and chat.
I don't know why, but I immediately, when I read this line, think that Drake has a secret room that's deeper in his house that he takes people. And it is creepy. Like, that's what I mean. He's got like a bookshelf that turns around and I'm like, uh-oh. I don't want to know what Drake's doing back there. And you have to sign an NDA to get in.
He pulls the third Harry Potter and it swivels.
Prisoner of Azkaban is actually my favorite of the series. It's really good.
I have a signed wand back here. Come on, check it out.
I don't agree with what JK said. I mean, I know she's a TERF, but
the world she created is simply beautiful.
Next, we've got from Tie That Binds. Maybe I'll take you to my family, change your name. Katy, Texas, Dallas, Texas.
I know.
Whatever. These ones are legitimately problematic.
Yeah.
I do not like that he has this whole thing.
No, he's suggesting like, oh, you have problems? Let me take you to my family. We'll get your name legally changed and you can leave your old life behind and your parents won't even know where you're at.
Let's change your name to Drake's wife, legally. Your name is not even, you don't even take my last name. Your last name's wife now. It's Drake's wife.
Would you like that?
Yeah, he's like, oh, she's a 21-year-old stripper trying to get through college. Let me pay for all of that, change your name, and you'll never see anybody you've ever met again.
I'm just imagining like his parents meeting another woman too. They're like, all right, Aubrey, what's your name? This is great. Where'd you guys meet? Oh yeah, roller rink, cool.
Roller rink. This one's from Liability. You put your words together like you getting points for that shit, like you playing Scrabble on me.
And this comes from the song where I think it might be like his strongest writing effort.
Yeah, it's really good.
I feel like Liability is like a really well-written song. It's cool. It has emotional like moves and swells to it, but this line is corn.
I don't know. This is one of those that I could go either way on it. I kind of love it.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. But like if you read this to me and I didn't know there was a new Drake album, I'd be like, that's a Drake line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it reads just like a Drake AI line.
Yeah, there's like a different kind of vantage point you have to have when you're like dissecting Drake lyrics because he just writes from a perspective that is kind of cheeky. Like no one writes like him.
Yeah, and I know you're not on Twitter very much, but like, you know, when Giannis and the Bucks win, people are like Drake somewhere in the studio trying to rhyme something with
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like there is a certain cheekiness to the way that Drake will try to take something
that's relevant
and find a way to put it into a Drake style bar. And this is just, it's not that Scrabble.
I was just about to say Scrabble, the game that's flying off the shelves across the country. Milton Bradley hit it home run with this one.
Like you playing Wordle on me.
You should have just said Wordle.
You don't get points in Wordle though.
I know.
And I will say we both looked up liability sped up.
Yeah.
Because it is slowed and reverbed. It sounds just like a normal ass Drake song.
The most
sped
normal.
up. Like you should look it up on YouTube. It's super normal.
Yeah, I forget the TikTok guy I saw that did it, but one of those classic moments where I was like thinking about it all day, and then when I open TikTok up at night, it's like, did you want to hear the Drake song sped up? And I'm like, who the fuck's in my head? I did hear it, and I thought it would be more of like a bop when it was sped up, but it does just sound very plain Jane.
Yeah,
Drake.
it's just kind of wallpaper on a Drake album.
I almost want to hear this song 4 times speed, almost like a Nightcore version.
Yeah. This is my least favorite lyric on the album, which is, calling me daddy, I taught you things that a father can't teach.
And we are filming this on Father's Day.
This is what I was talking about before on steroids.
Yeah.
He says some shit that I'm like, stop it, Drake.
Yeah, cut it out.
Stop that shit.
The French stuff, all right, playful, kind of gross.
Changing your name, sure, but teaching you things that a father can't teach, I do not like that.
No.
It just gives you an ugly mental image.
Sex. Sorry.
All right, also on liability, then you stepped back on this shit, girl, you hit the harden on me.
First listen through, this was by far my least favorite lyric.
Really?
Oh, dude, I hated this one. His sports bars seem so forced sometimes. Like, if you're not talking about sports in the greater context of the verse, and then you're just like, she hit me with a slap shot, Wayne Gretzky. It's like, come on, like, why?
That's weird, because you love sports bars.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, Keno, Wings,
Woo,
you know what I mean?
woo. Yeah.
Especially one where you have the tables that are like laminated and there's baseball cards under them.
half off apps, Wednesdays, 4 to 6.
It's a picture of the original owner and Ted Williams on the wall. It's like, I didn't even know they had like cameras back then.
He also says in liability, judging me lately, you're banging the gavel on me.
That's a good one.
That's a funny
That's
part
a good
as well.
line, yeah. The cadence is just so pleasing on this song. So it's like, you hit the gavel on me.
Yeah, everything like rolls into
Yeah,
the
it's
next.
just like real like woozy.
All right, this is my favorite line from the album. Jimmy Cooks, he says, hoes say I'm suave, but I can't get Rico'd.
So good.
Yeah, he starts the song with R.I.P. Lil Keed, and then this comes in and makes it very like poignant.
Yeah.
You know, Rico Suave is the reference here for all you young kids.
Yeah, and tell him who Rico Suave is.
He was sexy as fuck.
Oh, okay, yeah. I added the very next line, which is, bro think he John Wayne, I bought him Yellowstones.
You think this one's hard?
Yeah.
Really?
I do, I like it. New Drake album, Pilgrim. All right, now we get to the 21 verse. I've got 4 here.
Which is loaded with memorable lines.
Yeah. If I was Will Smith, I would have slapped him with a stick.
Now, this is 21 saying if he were Will Smith, he would have pistol whipped Chris Rock at the Oscars.
Yes. I think even, and not even like pistol whip, because I'm thinking that the gun is much bigger.
Oh, like a whoosh.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Grand Theft Auto sort of situation.
It's like a musket.
I can even roll him in the wood because he musty. That is a different level of disrespect.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even smoking him because he smells like shit.
This one's crazy.
Yeah. This is the first line of the verse. Spin a block twice like it ain't nowhere to park.
Yeah, that's good too.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like loop around twice to shoot you twice.
Yeah.
But like you would do looking for a parking spot.
Yeah. And then the chopper like to feel on all the ops, it's a molester.
This was close to my favorite bar on the whole album. Because this is like quintessential 21. He's like, how can I fit molester into my verse? Oh, my gun. It likes to feel on people.
Yeah, and he's just rhyming it with like the chopper came with a compressor
Right.
and all that shit. But then it's just my chopper like to feel on all the ops. That's like I don't even know how to like visualize anything that's happening here.
I think it's the first of its kind. You know what I mean? No one's ever said my gun likes to feel up on you.
Yeah.
It is gross, it is weird, but it's vivid and it adds to like this menacing tone 21 has here.
Yeah, and honestly, I really did think for the course of 21's career, like the trajectory he's been taking, that he was going to get less cold-blooded and less funny because he was going to be maturing and blah, blah, blah. But it is not true.
No.
Like the feature killer, 21 Savage
Yeah.
is like the best rap feature you can get right now.
He's like the one guy I believe when he says he's gonna do these things too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when he's on a feature and he says some menacing shit, I'm like looking over my shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to be in the same city as him.
I'm so excited for him to drop a full body of work that feels really good and significant.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of people like I Am Is Greater Than I Was, but that album for me just wasn't like as fun to listen to as his old stuff. And I'm waiting for him to drop like the album, like the 21 Savage album. And I think when we get it, it's like a classic.
Yeah, I think so too. He's set the stage for that for sure.
Yeah, he's poised for sure.
He also goes like Snoop mode for a good section of this verse, which I thought was so cool because he has the ability to do that classic Snoop Dogg scissor, like izzer, whizzer. He's ending every line with the Z's. I thought that was really smooth.
And it's got the yeet thing because he's like, that's
Twizzin'.
my twizzin'.
Yep.
It's been the block of gizzin'.
Yep.
We the reason that our offs ain't got no frizzins. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So the next section is features, and usually we have a lot of features to choose from. We pick our best and our worst. There's only one feature on this album that is actually listed, and that's 21 Savage, which it is the best feature.
It was amazing.
For worst feature, we both had a consensus somehow.
It is falsetto Drake.
Yeah, when Drake sings high, that is the worst feature of this album.
Yeah, and he sang high before. I don't know if it's like a symptom of how this album was produced or mixed or whatever, that it just sounds so bad here.
Yeah.
Like when he reaches for, it's like, oh, geez. It's like when your daughter's learning to sing.
Baby. Yeah. I think it's kind of like misguided ambition a little bit. I think like he has pulled off so much. He's a great vocalist. Like I truly believe he is one of those vocalists who his vocal tone is like unmatched. It's kind of like Kanye, Drake, Frank Ocean have that thing about them that even when they have a bad vocal performance, it still sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But here, I feel like he just was trying to hit notes he shouldn't have been trying to hit.
Yeah.
Because he's heard house music and was like, this is what I gotta do.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was just trying to become a character that he's not all that familiar with yet. Yeah. And he does feel uncomfortable at certain points. That being said, there are really good vocal performances on this album. Like Downhill specifically is an amazing arrangement. The way he works with, I think it's Tresser and Bo Knox are the two like added vocals in there. They work really well together. And that song, although we agree that it's like a little bland for a 4.5 minute track.
Yeah.
He puts on like a singing clinic there.
Yeah. I have a lot to say about Downhill, actually. Yeah. 3 things specifically.
Okay.
1, it sounds like a Phil Collins song, which I love. I think that's a weird mold for Drake to be in, but it works for him. Like I said, that's like his best vocal performance on the album. 2, it kind of sounds like the Lion King soundtrack. Like when the drums first come in, I pictured like all the animals walking out to Pride Rock, you know? It just really painted a picture for me. And I was like, oh, okay. Like Lion King the musical, you know?
Yeah.
Like it could have been in the reboot, the one with Beyonce and Donald Glover. And then third thing, I can picture Chance the Rapper listening to it and being like, damn it, I wish I had that beat. Fuck, he's doing my thing. Those are my 3 things on Downhill, but it is boring. I wish it wasn't as boring because it's one of my favorite palettes on the album, like sonic palettes on the album, but it's just like 4 minutes. And by the time it's over, I'm like, all right, it's the same thing the whole time.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's talk overall production on this album.
Yeah.
You're a little more familiar with dance music than I am, specifically house, deep house, Afro beats, dance hall, all that stuff. I don't really know, even Jersey Club, you know, I'm not as familiar with Jersey Club. So when it did happen on Currents, I know what Jersey Club is, but I still in my head was like, oh, Drake bed squeak song. Like I didn't immediately go, oh, he's doing a Jersey Club thing.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm just not as familiar with that type of music. So give us your take on overall what this production does for you on this album.
Yeah, we got Carnage on like a good half of the album. We got the Black Coffee presence throughout it. I mentioned Bo Knox. He's on a bunch of it. Alex Lustwig is on a bunch of it. He employs a lot of dance classic producers. And I think the sentiment we touched on in the beginning with it being a tribute to Virgil is kind of my biggest takeaway here. And the more I listen to it, the more I think about his thought process while he's making it, trying to incorporate either the stuff Virgil showed him or the stuff he saw Virgil play live. And I think that's like the beautiful part. Before people who are true like fans of house and have been listening to it for 5-10 years, it's gonna feel cheap. I've already seen people online say it's like the seltzer water of house. And that criticism is fair because obviously Drake's not a house artist.
Yeah.
And for the better part, like Carnage isn't the greatest example of like, here's deep house.
No, he's an EDM producer who often dabbles in the rap world. You know?
And he has sensibilities of dance music at large, sure. He's a pro, but he's not tapping into the well of like the greatest OG house guys, you know, early 2000s Detroit stuff, early 2000s Chicago stuff.
UK
house, like deep house stuff. That doesn't really get there, but I give him the slack or I cut him a break here because of the tribute to Virgil and whatever Virgil was into. I don't necessarily know. I haven't listened to a ton of those DJ sets.
Yeah.
And his work with Black Coffee in the past has been extensive, and the dance hall stuff I let him have because
it showed the world dance hall.
It showed the world dance hall.
A world that wasn't seeing it, because dance hall has its own world.
Right.
That's kind of what I was saying is like, people were kind of talking about the reception of this album and being like, what is Drake doing? Like, why is Drake doing this? And I'm like, think about it this way. We live in America. Bad Bunny is not really a big deal over here to a lot of people. Like, I know people who straight up go, who is that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And he's the biggest artist in the world.
He's the biggest artist in the world. There is a whole world that is looking for this type of music, and Drake is hitting that market.
Yeah.
And then he's also showing, even if it's a cheap version of it, he's showing it to an audience who never would have found it.
Exactly.
So there are rap fans out there now who heard this and go, okay, I kind of like this.
And that is like my biggest takeaway for this album is like, obviously, if you're a big house fan, this isn't gonna hit all the holes for you. You're not gonna be like, Drake reinvented house and it's brilliant.
Hit all the holes. What do you mean by that?
Like, you have holes in your head, obviously. Everybody has burned holes in their head. And when you listen to music, sometimes music fills those holes.
Oh, really?
And you can start thinking again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this isn't gonna do that for you as a true house fan. Okay. And as a true hardcore rap Drake fan, I completely understand if you're like appalled by this and it's not your thing.
Yeah.
But for the people that are just rap fans that heard this and it piqued an interest of some kind, or you said, whoa, like I've never heard a beat, you know, swell in and out and then come back with like some house keys. Like, if those moments entice you as just an everyday rap fan, get excited because there is a whole world of house and dance music that is worthwhile and like just really worth exploring.
Yeah, and we live in Detroit.
Yeah.
So like, it's funny because I heard songs on this album and I'm like imagining the places I would hear them out because we hear house music everywhere we go.
The storage container under the bridge down by 7 Mile.
Yeah. I was thinking Beaufait Road. You know what
perfect.
I mean? Absolutely. That's the thing is like, we have a little bit of a context for this, and I'm not a huge house fan, but I've been exposed to it from living in Detroit, and then I heard this and have a little bit of context, but I also am like intrigued to go further into it, even just from hearing the pop version of it done by the biggest rapper in the world.
Right. And like the night before we filmed this, Kraftwerk, the legendary like dance group, they ended their set with Massive.
Really?
And so it's already like classic dance. Like, DJs are gonna incorporate it because of its familiarity. Like, they're gonna do the same thing Drake did, but flip it on its head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's taking a more niche genre and entering it to expose people. Those house DJs are gonna take the popular artist and rework it into their house sets.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that's brilliant. Yeah, it's gonna ring through DJ mixes for like years to come.
Absolutely. Now that we're done singing the praises of the album, what is your least favorite beat?
Overdrive.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, my heart is in overdrive.
Put The Weeknd on this and it's a great song. And I have nothing to say about the beat. It's not really the beat that rubs me the wrong way, but it just feels like a Weeknd song that he falls flat on.
Yeah, I feel that. My least favorite beat is Tie That Binds.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I know what he's going for.
Yeah.
But like, why do you have to get the guy from the Weather Channel to do it?
Right.
To me, it's like, I know he's trying to do some flamenco guitar. It's supposed to be like, it just doesn't sound good. Like, it sounds not well played.
On first listen, I loved like how adventurous this song was. It's almost 6 minutes. It has the guitar solo that falls back into the beat. And I think that payoff is still pretty good. But the more I listen to this song, the cheaper it gets. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I just wish he had gotten like actually Santana to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Come on, you got the budget.
Like, you're
dude.
Drake.
Yeah,
you can get anybody you want.
Call Carlos up. He probably lives a few doors down.
Or like John Mayer could do it.
Oh, that dude's a heartthrob.
Yeah.
He could.
What are you leaning towards me for? No.
Your body is a wonderland. Ooh, ooh.
And we have the same best beat.
Naturally.
Which is Massive.
Yeah.
I don't wanna.
This is the closest he gets to like a full-blown like dance hit. Like it sounds like a Calvin Harris song.
It's really good.
Yeah.
There's something to his cheapness in this kind of moment where like if Calvin Harris made this song, I feel like it would be overproduced and it would have like huge synths and it would just feel too authentically dancey, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And then you have this where it's like Drake sliding into a cheaper pocket of it, but it works because it's Drake and it's so simple and so clean.
It still feels like a house track.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a pop track. It feels like a house track.
Yeah.
Especially with like the signature keys, but then you also have the
little vocal chop.
Yeah, the little tiny little vocal chop. I mean, I literally think this song is called Massive because they were like, this shit is massive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they probably listened to it and were like, oh, this one's massive.
And the radar beat, I think it makes its debut in this song, but he uses that as like a trope throughout it, which I think is cool because in house projects, you'll have the same thing too. You'll have an instrument or a vocal chop that comes to play in different rhythms and melodies.
Yeah.
And he does the same thing with that. He'll bury it under some bass and then this one, it's just out there.
Yeah, it's like a submarine metronome.
It's unbelievable. People are going to be like, bouncing around in the club.
Let's talk through some of the samples from this album.
Yeah, there's only 5 samples on this album per Genius, and 2 songs contain 2 of them. So there's really only 3 songs that have samples worked into them. Mm-hmm. There's 2 on Currents, one by Rai Rai and one by Trillville.
Okay,
The Trillville sample is where we get the squeaky chair.
Are we sure that's not a bed?
Oh, chair, bed, whatever. I sleep in a chair, so there's really no difference.
And I fuck in a chair, so.
I mean, I could snap my neck.
So is that Trillville?
Yeah, that's Trillville. That's so give me your number and I'll call and I'll follow that ass through the mall.
Oh, it's that song.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Which is a banger.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Instantly. The other one's an absolute banger too. Let's hear let's hear how he works that in, right?
Catching a flight. You think we're moving?
See, even just hearing what the sample is makes that grow on me, because Currents is like bottom of the album for me.
I wanted to touch on that with you. It's so good.
I don't know, man.
It's electric.
The lyrics are so bad too. It's just like
this is when he hits his homage like all the way.
All right, so let's hear the
Rai Rai sample.
Yeah, let's hear the Rai Rai song.
Check it to the gram, what? Check it to the gram, check it to the gram, what?
Where's this worked in? Wow, that is like very peculiar.
It is, yeah. His choices, although they're not being many, I think are really, really cool on this album.
Yeah.
And like how those work and meld together to allow him to pay the proper homage on this song specifically is sweet.
I want to get to the other samples, but also I will wager to say that I think there are more samples that are unlisted.
Yeah, no.
Because there seems like there's got to be more than 5 on this record.
I agree, but I wouldn't be that surprised if more don't get listed because he is going for this house thing and it does feel very bare, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Next one's Jimmy Cooks.
Yeah, he samples 2 classic Memphis songs in this one, and the first one being Play a Flop.
Awaken Shaken.
Just awake and shaking once again, oh you know it's on.
Wow, yeah.
Life is the only thing we need.
The way like the group vocals add to the atmosphere is so good.
It is really funny that when Drake and 21 link up, it's always on some Memphis shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Knife Talk had the Memphis thing going for it too.
Yep.
It just like feels like that makes sense for them.
Yeah.
Because I know Drake, I mean, you know, Drake did Look Alive. He's done he does stuff with Project Pat. Like he works with a lot of the Memphis influence, but it's just funny when 21 like heads a few hours north and does the Memphis thing.
It is interesting. So aside from the classic Memphis samples, it does also incorporate a Brooke Benton track on some strings or a little ocarina or something here.
It's like a smooth jazz, like this is almost some Weather Channel shit.
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
Or
Like some waiting music, like good waiting music.
Bob Ross, maybe.
Almost George Benson-like.
Gotta throw a party for my day ones. They ain't in the studio, but they're
So subtle.
Yeah, that's a hot melody though. It's just like it works so well for it. Like the last sample I want to bring up is Virgil Abloh's speaking part at the end of Sticky.
Yeah.
Where it says, like, we weren't supposed to come up with something this clean. like something happened.
Yeah.
Because it's from a very famous lecture that Virgil Abloh gave at Columbia in 2017, talking about the cover of Yeezus.
Yeah.
So he's talking about like coming up with the actual like bare bones industrial CD case cover for Yeezus.
Yeah.
It's very weird. I know that it's just a tribute to Virgil.
Sure.
But just being attached to Kanye, it feels so close to their like peacemaking.
Yeah.
That I'm like, is this a shot? Like, is it feel almost like that?
I feel like it's not even a shot. I feel like it's it just hits the double positive. Like, yeah, me and Kanye have made amends. Our mutual friend has passed, and like the incorporation of that just brings it even more like all the way around.
Yeah, it was always a tribute to Virgil's vision. I know that Drake is like paying tribute to that the entire album.
Yeah.
And I know that that's just an iconic quote and moment of Virgil's life. But it is just odd that it's about the Yeezus cover.
It is such a cool thing to say too, especially in the context of a Columbia like lecture.
Yeah.
It's like, how are we supposed to, of course we come up with something this clean, like something happened. Like, it is not like, you know, he's not on his high horse. He's like, man, like he's talking real. Virgil had a great way of doing that. And yeah, that's a special moment on the album for sure.
Before we go to best and worst tracks, I will say overall, when I first listened to this album, it was me and Grant in the studio the night it dropped at midnight. We just stayed here after working and listened to it. And halfway through, we looked at each other and was like, is this a joke? Like, I hated this album the first time I heard it. I was texting my friends who were into Drake and being like, oh my God, he made something worse than CLB. Like, how did he do it, you know? And then second listen, I was like, okay. Third listen, I was like, now I have my favorite tracks here and there are songs I'm gonna come back to. And like, you know, I've done 10, maybe 12 listens to this album and I genuinely think it's really good.
Yeah.
You know?
And I saw, it might have even been Joe Budden. Someone tweeted that it was like, imagine sitting in your bed at 2 a.m. trying to critique a dance album.
Right.
And that's your initial reactions when it's middle of the week or whatever, or Thursday night and people are just in bed.
Yeah.
And you're listening to these long 5-minute long house tracks. You're not going to be able to sit there and be like, well, Drake's not really hitting on this one.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not really going to settle in until you're in the club.
And expectations are a big thing with Drake. And honestly, this is the first time I've seen him be actually subversive.
Yeah.
Ever. He's never done a thing where you're expecting one thing and you get another.
Yeah.
He always gives you just kind of like a hodgepodge of things.
Yeah.
Whether it's Scorpion and he splits his album half rap, half R&B. Whether it's More Life where it's just kind of a mixed bag of whatever.
Yeah.
Or if you're reading this, it's Too Late where you're getting like a really hard, ethereal Drake.
Yeah.
You always kind of have something that you can take from a Drake album and be like, I liked these songs, but hated these ones. Even with CLB, people did that where they're like, you know, Too Sexy is super corny, but Race My Mind is beautiful.
Yeah.
People pick and choose things. He didn't give people an option for that unless you're looking at Jimmy Cooks because like that's like his Bound 2. You know, at the end of Yeezus, you get a song that's so different from the rest of the album. He did that here, but for the most part, he went straight down a dance route and people weren't expecting that. And so, of course, the first reactions were like, what the fuck is going on? But as the album is going to live with people and we see where it lives in real life, in clubs, playing out of cars, in the summer, I think it is one of Drake's better albums.
I agree.
Which is weird to say because I think there's a lot of terrible moments on here too, but I think it's one of his more consistently enjoyable albums to just sit back and listen to.
I totally agree. Let's get into best and worst tracks for each of us.
Yeah. So your worst track.
My worst track is Falling Back,
which I cannot believe is the single for this album.
And it's by a mile. It has bad singing. It doesn't really have the big payoff dance moment. Like, I will skip that song every time I play this album.
Yeah, I start with Text Go Green every time I listen to this album.
Wow, you don't listen to the violin intro?
Finding myself, showing myself, finding a way to...
It's just the singing.
Because the bass, the low end's cool. It like it rattles you around, but like it'd be a better track if there were no vocals.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah. Or somebody else was on it.
Yeah.
Like Sampha.
Sure.
My least favorite, I went with your second least favorite. I think Falling Back is probably my least favorite as well.
Fair.
But I just picked Overdrive because I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it sounds like a really bad Weeknd song.
Yeah.
And The Weeknd would have probably done fine on a song like this, but I hate the production. It just is wallpaper, and then he just can't sing what he's trying to sing here.
It's the one song, I know we just praised it for being like a cohesive album, but it's the one song that feels a little out of place.
Yeah.
It feels like a retro pop song and less like a house song.
And I know a lot of people said that this whole album was like H&M or Zara music, you know, like stuff you'd hear in a mall.
Yeah.
And this is the only one, and I know Fantano said this exact same thing, but this is the one where I truly do feel like that. It just feels like background music for a mall store. It's so boring.
Yeah, it is boring.
The tide is high, and I know It's just waves of jealousy.
I also want to say, like, the mixing on this album is not great, especially the vocals are like maxed out all the time. And this song is so boring that I just don't understand why it also is distorted.
Yeah.
Like his vocals are like fuzzy and lame.
Yeah,
like,
especially on like Falling Back, but on this one too, that seems like there's like a lot of highs in his voice.
Yeah.
So every time he hits like an S or something, it like screams through the mic. And
yeah, you need a pop filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only songs I really dislike on this album are Falling Back, Overdrive, Tie That Binds.
Yeah.
Those three I really don't like. And then there's at least something I like about every other song on this album.
I think I agree.
As for best song, we have the same one. Sticky. Let's hear it.
Let's go.
Hey, Homer hanging on my neck. The bracelet matches a set. My brother name is Tina Dollars.
It is infectious. The pace is just electric. When the bass rolls in, it's so good. There's like a nice long intro too.
Yeah.
It's like a 35-second intro, and then when it hits, it just doesn't stop.
It's like what I was saying earlier. At first I was like, how is he supposed to rap over this? Of course you're gonna get singing Drake. But then he raps over one of them and I'm like, God damn it, why didn't he do this some more?
Yeah,
you know?
a little bit.
If you just replaced those three songs that I'm talking about with songs like Sticky,
Then
it's a classic.
Best work.
it's like close to his best album.
Yeah.
That's a little bit overdoing it because there are some drab parts of this album. But I think my top 5 would be Sticky, Texaco Green, Liability, Massive, and Jimmy Cooks. That's my 5. I don't know about the order, but
I'm rocking with your 5, but I would replace Texaco Green with Currents.
yeah.
Currents to me, that was the initial one where I was like, oh, I would listen to it with Tomagothic, and he broke right into Jersey Club dancing. He was two-stepping in my family.
Yeah.
To me, that one is like perfect mix of him paying homage, working into himself into a different genre.
Yeah.
That song's cool.
And that's also the first one that I threw up in my mouth to when I listened to it on first listen. So that song's gonna take a minute to grow on me. There are parts of it that I like, but overall, I'm like, I could do without it.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
Overall, we like the album.
We like the Drake album, and I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't like it on first listen. So if you've listened one time, I encourage you to listen to it again.
Absolutely.
Also, if you're a rap fan and this is your intro to house, Brayden's gonna make a house playlist. And we'll put it down in description, some more deep house stuff to take you further into the genre if you are interested.
I got your back.
He's not an architect, but he knows how to build a house playlist. All right, let us know what you thought of the Drake album down in the comments. Let us know your best tracks, worst tracks, samples you thought were interesting, all of that stuff. Also, let us know what album you want us to do this for next. We do it with new albums, but we're also willing to backtrack. So let us know down in the comment section. Other than that, like the video, subscribe, all that stuff I said at the beginning. And Graydon, would you like to leave these wonderful people some advice to leave or live their lives by?
Practice. The master of all things.
All right, this has been HIVEMIND TV. We love you, we appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.
It's OVO thing, man.
Pussy is calling my name. Okay. I had to take care of some Father's Day business, you know what I mean? My kids are so annoying. Every year for Father's Day, they don't get me anything, and I have to get them stuff. It's like I'm like Jesus.
Yep.
You know, for his birthday, he gets his fat cousin Santa gets everybody gifts.
Jesus didn't have kids.
We're all his children, if you think about it. Jesus has a lot of sons. He started a whole wave, and I feel like people just kind of like rode that shit. You know what I mean?
The long hair.
He had the long hair.
Fuck!
What the fuck did you do?
I dropped my Bible.
Oh, your Bible.
Yeah, I was reading a little passage. I was gonna read you a passage, but
That's fine.